Welcome, friends. Welcome back to the kitchen. So today we're going to do a recipe that when I first saw it, and this is going to offend some people, and if you're one of those people that gets offended, I'm very sorry. It's on you. When I really saw it, my brain sort of exploded, and I thought, wow, we really have reached the end times. And at exactly the same moment, my brain also said, wow, that's something you'd really enjoy. We should give that a shot. So here we go. We're going to give it a shot. So I've got some butter in the bottom of this pan. I've got some sliced shallots. We're going to put those in. And we're just going to lightly saute them until they soften and become translucent. Okay, that's looking pretty good. So in we go with some salt, some red pepper flakes, some brown sugar, a dollop of grainy Dijon mustard, some chicken stock, and some sliced carrots. And I'm just going to toss that around a little bit. And now we need some Coke. And I'm only going to make about half of the recipe, so I'm only going to use about a half a bottle of the Coke. Some thyme sprigs. And we'll put the lid on, and we'll let that simmer until the carrots soften, which apparently will take maybe 8 to 10 minutes. I can hear some of you screaming, why? And I can hear some of the rest of you screaming, yes! I don't know. It's something that really appeals to me, but at the same time, I know that it's not something that, I would want to eat more than maybe once a year. Interesting. Coke Maple tastes like Pepsi. Okay, let's check this out. I think that's pretty good. I'm not going to let the carrots go as far as the recipe I read said to go, because I don't want them to be mushy at the end. I still want a little bit of bite or chew. So now I'm going to pull the carrots out into this bowl. I'll get rid of the thyme, and then I just want to boil down what's left in the pan down to a syrup, a very sugary syrup. I kind of cringe at this recipe. I know that I'll like it. There's no doubt that I'm going to like it. But when I'm cooking vegetables at home for Julie and I for dinner, we both like the flavor of vegetables. And so they're always cooked very plainly, very simply, either just grilled with a little bit of salt and pepper or steamed with a little bit of salt and pepper. Nothing extravagant. So I got the last couple of carrots out of here, and we'll bring this up to a boil and let that boil down to a syrup. Okay, so it's pretty syrupy at this point. I'm going to turn it off. Julie's not home from work yet. I think the carrots are cooked almost to perfection. They've got just the right amount of toothsome chew that I like. So if I was making this for a dinner party or Thanksgiving or Christmas, that would go to the table right away. That would be done. But I think that because Julie's not home yet, I'm going to take this, I'm going to put the lid on it, toss this around to get the carrots coated with the syrup, put the lid on it, and stick it in the oven. The oven's on keep warm setting, 175 degrees Fahrenheit. And that will hold these for at least an hour, hour and a half at about the right temperature. And I don't think the carrots will get too mushy at that, which is a great thing that if you are making this for, Thanksgiving or Christmas or something like that, where you want to kind of make these a little bit ahead and you can hold them at a right temperature. You could also put that into one of those smaller crock pots at this point that a lot of people use and just sort of keep it warm on the sideboard until service. I know this is going to come out in probably June and you're not thinking about Christmas or Thanksgiving yet. Some people might be. That's just what I would do. Into the oven to keep warm.
Hey, Glen.
Hey, Jules.
Hey, friends.
I give you a fork.
Okay.
I'm not gonna put this out on a plate. We'll just taste it out though.
They're cooked carrots.
They are cooked carrots.
I'm not a big fan of cooked carrots.
Oh.
You sound surprised. I don't understand how you could possibly be surprised about that.
Huh. Oh. What do you think?
Okay, so my first response is they taste like cooked carrots.
They do.
You know, and so I'm going to try and get a little more onion on it and see if that. They're somewhat sweeter than cooked carrots, but they're definitely just, to me, just cooked carrots.
So they are a little bit sweeter, but they're not that much sweet.
No,
They're not as sweet as I thought.
it's not like when you glaze. Oh, you've got to be kidding me!
So
It's not like when you glaze them and put them on the barbecue or something like that. It has none of that kind of sweetness to it. It's just they're cooked carrots with a little. Yeah.
So the mustard and the hot pepper flakes tone down the sweetness. I mean, there's a lot of sugar in there. There is a lot of sugar in there, but it doesn't come off as cloyingly sweet because of those other two elements that sort of pull it back a little bit.
Yeah, mustard would do that.
The mustard and the hot, and you get a little bit of hot pepper flake every once in a while and go, oh, that's really nice. The tang,
Maybe I didn't get a hot pepper.
the onion works really well.
I think if you like cooked carrots, this is, a nice treat.
This is not going to be every Tuesday for dinner because that amount of sugar is just not good for anybody.
I don't know.
But I think if you put that out at Christmas or Thanksgiving or Réveillon, that would go pretty quick.
Yeah, someone other than me would have some. Absolutely.
People would gobble that up.
I'd probably still skip it.
I would gobble that up. And even after, so that was in the oven at 175 for almost 2 hours, and there's still some bite.
I'm actually surprised that it's
In the
not
carrots.
that it hasn't. It's not a coating. It's still very liquidy, which kind of surprises me.
Okay, so it was a real syrup, right? Like it was thick syrup. Put it in the oven. And that 2 hours or so in the oven,
With the onion.
they've released a little bit more moisture.
Yeah.
And so that what had been a syrup is now more of a sauce. But I think it works. I think it works.
You enjoy.
I'm so conflicted because the first time I saw it, I was like, oh, my. What does it come to?
You were hoping for something a little bit more exciting, weren't you?
No,
No, that's exactly what you expected?
that's what
Okay.
no, that's way better than I expected.
Okay.
I thought it was going to be horrible. I thought it was going to be overly sweet. It was going to be cloying. It was going to be all of the things that I don't like. But a little part of my brain said, no, you're really going to like that, Glen. And
Then you do.
And there it
There you
was.
go.
I do.
That's great.
So, can't always judge a recipe by your first thought when it passes you by. Come back to it, revisit it, and think about it. That is really good. Really good. Thanks for stopping by. See you again soon.
I'm a bit disappointed that we've never got to taste this yet.
Oh, there's more.
That, it's been sitting there waiting for us to taste it in the fridge for
It was
a long time.
It was really good, but you know what? You know what it tastes like? It tastes like Pepsi. It tastes like Pepsi. That's the first thing that hit me when I tasted it. It's Pepsi.
And of course, if you go back, you'll
I know.
realize that Glen actually
I
does
know.
like Pepsi, contrary to what he says.